All right, we got Caitlin Clark addressing the elephant in the room. Caitlin Clark finally called out Stephanie White for this bum offense, this bum offensive game plan that she comes out with, getting in her way, yelling at her to pass the ball like she's Kelsey Mitchell. It's insane.
Let me say the thing a lot of Fever fans are thinking, but not everyone wants to say out loud. Caitlin Clark should not look this trapped. This is one of the most dangerous offensive guards basketball has seen in years. She can pull from 30 feet and turn a fast break into panic. And yet, too often, she looks boxed in. Not just guarded, boxed in.
I cannot stress enough how much I hate Stephanie White. Like, it is not one of these things where it's like, oh, you're, I think she's a sabotaging Caitlin, all this stuff. Like, I'm not gonna go that far. Albeit, if you are someone that's gone that far, I am not gonna stop you. I'm not gonna stop you. I think trying to believe that someone is a good person is not a bad mentality to have towards things. But I will stand by this. I hate her.
And before anyone twists this, no, I am not saying Stephanie White is a bad coach. I am not saying Caitlin Clark is perfect. I am not saying every Fever problem begins and ends on the sideline. But we need to have the real conversation, because right now, the Caitlin Clark experience and the Stephanie White system do not look fully aligned. Clark is speed, spacing, instinct, and chaos. White is structure, control, discipline, and half-court execution. And when those two worlds crash into each other, Indiana has to answer one uncomfortable question. Do you build the system around the superstar, or do you squeeze the superstar into the system?
Caitlin Clark finally starting to stand up for herself in terms of this Stephanie White situation. And she also addressed the fact that finally she has a couple teammates willing to stand up for her. For so long, so many of her teammates will watch her get pushed, swung at, knocked to the floor, and do absolutely nothing. Caitlin Clark addressed that as well.
Clark did not enter this league quietly. She was the #1 pick, Rookie of the Year, and she brought sold-out arenas and national pressure. But what made Clark special was never just the numbers. It was the feeling. The second she crossed half court, the building changed. Defenders got nervous, fans leaned forward, teammates ran harder because they knew the ball could find them from anywhere. That is her superpower. Pace, space, pressure. She does not just run an offense. She stretches the court until the defense breaks. Then Indiana brought in Stephanie White. And to be fair, White can coach. She has credibility. She has won. She knows Indiana. She understands pressure. But good coaches can still create the wrong fit when they try to make the talent fit the system instead of making the system fit the talent.
Nothing's ever enough for you. Nothing is ever enough for you, Stephanie White. No matter how many times Caitlin Clark shows up to save your behind over and over and over again, you don't seem to get it. We got Stephanie White. This played a huge part into the first quarter debacle. Stephanie White crashing out, yelling at Caitlin Clark to pass the ball. You don't never yell at Kelsey Mitchell to pass the ball. She's yelling out at Caitlin Clark, move it, move it. Every time she touched the ball, her and Brianne January clapping at her from the bench to pass the ball. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. We got to get into the footage, man.
And that is where the Fever looks stuck. You see possessions where the ball slows down. You see Clark giving it up early and not always getting it back in dangerous spots. You see defenders loading up because the spacing does not always punish them. You see Indiana playing safe basketball with an unsafe weapon standing right there. That is what drives people crazy, because Caitlin Clark is not supposed to be used like a normal point guard. Normal point guards initiate the offense. Clark detonates it. Normal guards wait for the play to develop. Clark is the development. So when Indiana slows everything down and makes her operate inside a tighter box, they are shrinking her biggest advantage. And you can feel it.
Stephanie White will pull a move like this after continuously getting her ass saved by Caitlin Clark. This team scored 6 points in the whole first quarter, and I watched Caitlin Clark pretty much check out of the first quarter like, what the hell? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. This is ridiculous. We got to get into the footage, man. Take a look at Stephanie White, like crashing out on Caitlin Clark to pass the ball, when in reality, she's the only one on this team that ever passes the damn ball. Now listen to the audio. You got to listen. You're going to hear her yelling at Caitlin Clark every time she has the ball. Move it, move it, move it. Listen to this.
3-point lead here for Phoenix. Mac gets the switch with...
Did y'all hear that? Move it, move it.
The crowd can feel it, the defense can feel it, even the broadcast can feel it. There are stretches where the Fever look like they are holding one of the fastest basketball engines in the world at half speed. That is not balance. That is conflict. And this is where people turn every sideline moment into a conspiracy. I am not doing that. I will not invent words or sell a fake locker room war. But the tension is not imaginary. It is basketball tension. A superstar trying to play free. A coach trying to install control. This is a battle for the identity of the Indiana Fever. So here is my honest take. The coaching is not failing Caitlin Clark in the lazy internet rage way people want to say it. But the system is not fully serving her either. And that matters. Because when you have a generational offensive talent, you do not ask her to blend in. You do not put the Ferrari in traffic and then complain it is not moving fast enough. You clear the road. That does not mean Clark does whatever she wants. It means great coaching is not about proving your system works. It is about proving your system can evolve.
Look, I'm not as extreme as Venom, but like that man has enough evidence that his points, like the amount of people that have called him every name under the sun, I'm like, he has enough evidence for every one of his points that you're like, okay, even if you don't agree with them, he's clearly has his reasons. And this is another thing where I'm like, so Caitlin Clark picked up a tech that she had no right getting. She had no right at all to be teed up here. I mean that.
Let Clark push the ball off makes, not just misses. Let her attack before the defense gets set. Put more shooting around her so teams pay for loading up. Stop using her gravity like a bonus feature and start treating it like the foundation. And in the final minutes, the ball has to find her hands. Not as a decoy, not standing in the corner, not waiting while the possession gets squeezed down to 6 seconds. In her hands. Because when the game tightens, your best advantage has to become your clearest decision. Now, to be fair to White, this is not easy. Every game is a microscope. Every loss becomes a national debate. And Clark has things to clean up too. The turnovers matter, the shot selection matters, the physicality matters. This is not a cartoon where Clark is always right. But here is the difference. Clark is the rare piece. Clark is the engine. Clark is the reason the ceiling is different. So yes, she has to grow. But Indiana has to grow around her, not away from her. The Fever are not just deciding how to play basketball. They are deciding what kind of franchise they want to become. A team with a superstar hopes the great player fits. A superstar-led team builds around her gifts. Indiana has to choose. Let White build the defensive backbone. Let Clark drive the offensive identity. White does not need to lose control. Clark needs to be given the controls. There is a difference. You do not get this kind of player often. So when you do get her, you do not spend the season trying to make her ordinary. You build something extraordinary. The Fever have a superstar. They have a serious coach. They have pressure from every direction. And right now, the system and the star are still fighting for the steering wheel. Tell me in the comments, is this coaching, roster, or just the painful part of building something big? Hit subscribe because this Fever story is nowhere near finished.